It always feels like we should be surfing when it comes out of that song.
Yeah, it's definitely got that vibe.
Yeah. So
Did you do that on purpose?
I didn't make that. Kyle made it for me as a surprise
Oh, okay.
because I think it's a lot of fun. But I probably would have done the logo a little different, so it says "Pop Go the Writers" instead of "Pop the Writers Go" or whatever. It's just kind of
It's as if Yoda said it. Pop the writers go.
So good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
Well, thank you. So I am Dan Wickline, my co-host Jim Beard. If you are new here, then where the hell you been? You're late.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Tonight we are going to hit some big topics. We're going to talk about season finales. We got 2 season finales tonight. We have both the season finale of She-Hulk, which was just off the hook. Then the season finale of Rings of Power, and the latest episode of Andor, the halfway point of Andor season 1. We do have a bit of news to talk about. There is a rumor going around, and this is kind of in a weird place rumor, in that it's not being reported on by Variety or Deadline or the Hollywood Reporter, which are pretty much, when they say it, you can kind of take it as locked in ink.
Yes.
It's coming from a lot of credible sources. And that rumor is that Harrison Ford has signed on to take over the role of General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross after the passing of William Hurt. And he will be playing the role in both Captain America New World Order and the Thunderbolts. That's the word going around. It's being, like I said, picked up by a lot of sources that are treating it as confirmed. And a lot of these sources or a lot of these people who are picking it up tend to be a little more hesitant. You know, they're more cautious. They don't just take these. It's not "we got this covered" that seems to make up their own news. You know? So, I mean, you still have to take it with a grain of salt. And it still feels odd to me. Because you just lost a 72-year-old actor, and you're going to replace him with an 80-year-old actor. And you're not replacing Chadwick Boseman, who passed, but you are going to replace it. It just all comes across as very strange to me.
Yeah, I ain't for it. I'm against it.
You're against the recasting, or against?
I'm not against recasting in general. I think this is just not. Number one, I find it really hard to believe that Harrison Ford would want to do this. That's the key to my argument right there.
Yeah.
And then even if he did, I think it's a mistake. Because of the focus it could pull in the movies. God love William Hurt, and I like the guy and everything. He was not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily go, there's William Hurt, but I've always hated roles like this being played by mega popular people. I was against Batman being played by Ben Affleck because it's Batman played by Ben Affleck instead of, there's Batman. I don't know. I keep going back to, why the hell would Harrison Ford want to do this? Harrison Ford, in my opinion, should be winding things down.
Yeah, I would think so, but I can think of 4 reasons he might want to do it. Waylon, Ellie, Juliana, and Ethan. Those are his grandkids.
Yeah. What?
And
So they can have even more millions?
no, but normally when you see an older actor say they
Yeah.
take a part like this because, well,
Yeah.
my grandkids wanted me to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's gone all the way back to my beloved Batman show of the 60s. There were people who took the parts on that because their kids, wanted them to do it. Lee Merriweather said that same thing. Her kids wanted her to do Star Trek and Batman, and so she did both.
Yeah,
Um, I, I I don't know. I saw somebody say something online, and it really struck me. It was very funny, but they're like, "Can you imagine Harrison Ford on the press junket for those? He takes the part, he goes on the press junket for those movies, and they start asking him questions, and he just says, "I don't care. I don't care. I don't care."
I've never seen one of these movies.
Yeah, I never. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking. It's like,
Yeah,
why? I can't imagine why that guy would want to be coming off of at least two huge franchises to go into the hugest franchise running right now,
yep,
and and then take, I mean, I don't know, then take over a part for another actor who, yes, that was a good point, who was younger than him. I don't know. Just on a surface level, yeah, he'd be fine in the role. It's
yeah,
not that. It's not like, I mean, he's a curmudgeon. Yeah, he's a curmudgeon playing a curmudgeon. Sure, that
yep.
works. But I
I,
don't
I
know.
I'd
I
be
just
okay with him in the part, but not if they do take it to the Red Hulk level. Because I can't see him running around in the green or the gray pajamas with the balls on it like Mark
no,
Ruffalo does.
no, he
So,
would.
yeah,
No way in hell.
yeah. Andrew says, almost wish they'd bring Sam Elliott in again as General Ross. The only problem with that is that at least the original the Ed Norton Hulk was considered an MCU movie. That would be bringing him in from the previous one, which was not an MCU movie.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't mind that. How old is Sam Elliott these days? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
My list
but
of
you know
actors'
what?
birthdays. Yeah,
But that's almost on the same level as William Hurt. And I hate to keep saying stuff about William Hurt that makes it sound like I'm disparaging, him or anything, which I'm not. It's just, and honestly, I also think it's a huge difference between recasting that part and recasting T'Challa, the Black Panther. I do think there's a huge difference there. Um, Chadwick was the headliner. Uh, yeah, I pretty much do agree with Kevin Feige on that one, to just not go down that road of recasting.
I don't know if I agree with Andrew that Elliot would be better as Ross than Ford. I think Ford would be fine as Ross.
Yeah, like I said, it's not that at all with me. I don't have a problem with him in the role. It's just A, I can't believe he would want it, and B, I just don't think it would be good for the movie.
Yeah. See,
Movie.
I kind of wish they would just do the same thing that they're doing with Chadwick and just, have Ross pass
Mhm.
and have them build the Thunderbolts in honor of him.
Absolutely.
And then you can make somebody else the
Totally.
Red Hulk or the Red She-Hulk or,
Yeah.
you can go many directions.
Yeah.
But
It could be General Thunderbolt Ross Jr. His son.
yeah.
His
Or
his
we haven't met Glenn Talbot yet in the MCU,
yeah, good point.
So
Yep.
there's a lot of possibilities they could do.
Yeah. We need Doc
And
Samson.
yeah, I mean, well, Ty Burrell played Leonard in the first one, and we were supposed to assume that was Leonard Samson because he was Leonard and he was a psychiatrist.
Jeez, I had forgotten that altogether. Wow. Wow,
Hi, Amy. Good to see
we have
you.
a crowd here today.
It's just Andrew typing a lot.
No, I mean we have two people.
Okay.
Sorry, Dan. It's all me. I've chased away your entire viewership. I hang my head in shame.
Andrew says, bring back Liv Tyler and have her turn heel. That would be interesting too.
Hmm.
And bring her back as the Red She-Hulk.
Hmm.
Yeah, see,
You
there's a
had
lot.
me at bring back Liv Tyler. You didn't have to say anything else past that.
Yeah, but again, you go. Well, we changed Ed Norton. I don't know. I think Marvel's doing the best they can, and sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
works great. Sometimes it's like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if I ever got a chance to interview Kevin Feige, I think one of the questions I would ask him is there any part of the MCU you'd like to go back and pull a George Lucas on and
Mm-hmm.
edit and change
Mm-hmm.
a line you'd like to take out that doesn't make sense now? You know, like in Captain America Civil Winter Soldier, when the guy starts naming off people they're keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Stephen Strange is mentioned
Yeah.
years before Strange ever goes to um, Carmitage.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
oh,
no, they just meant as a neurosurgeon. That's all.
yeah,
I mean, he was actually a big deal as far as being a neurosurgeon. So,
true.
I will bet you that Kevin would probably say he'd get rid of that whole Hulk movie, the Incredible Hulk movie.
I didn't think it was a bad movie.
I just think it's so forgettable because honestly, I've forgotten most of it. I saw it once. It's the only one I've never seen in the theater. I don't
I
remember what the reasoning was. I wasn't into the Hulk, and as much as I loved Iron Man, I just didn't have any interest in the Hulk movie. And I watched it on at a friend's house. He played it for me, and I said, okay, I saw it.
I just rewatched it the other day,
Hmm.
and with Samuel Stearns coming back as Tim Blake Nelson as the leader,
Yeah.
and with having gotten William Hurt back, I just wanted to get it in my head again, and I liked it a lot better than I remembered
Hmm.
because the whole first part of it feels like a horror movie.
Hmm.
With the way the soldiers are hunting him in that little city or that the South American city,
Yeah.
and you don't see him. And I just thought it was really well done. Yeah, I think the Hulk movie is better than people give it credit for. You
Well, I
know,
think a lot of people are going to be going back to see it for the Abomination
yeah.
again. There's your lead into She-Hulk. Wink, wink.
hmm So, all right. So, should we talk She-Hulk?
No, let's go to Andor. Yes, we can talk She-Hulk. I mean, if
Okay.
you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk She-Hulk. This was probably the most John Byrne ending they could have done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have mixed feelings about it
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because, in a lot of ways, it's exactly what they did in the comics. It's that type of thing. Her breaking the fourth wall, her talking to John Byrne, stuff like that. Where I have a problem with it is that ending kind of negated the importance of anything that happened in the series.
Hmm.
Because the fact that she could just go and kind of change it, the whole blood storyline is gone. Well, does that mean that they didn't get her blood? Or do they have her blood? Did Todd, I mean, the whole thing with the guy sleeping with her and the reveal, I mean, what got washed away? What did?
Yes, I'm glad you said that. You make a really good point. I am so glad you said that because I did really enjoy it and I didn't have any problem with it. But I did walk away saying, okay, exactly what happened, what really happened, and what was changed. I mean, she complained and reality was changed, I assume. if we're even supposed to look at it like that at all, or we're really just supposed to stand back and say it was, it was a TV show within a TV show or whatever. But yeah, I thought about that. So I'm assuming that Todd in the end reality did not change into a Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Her whole thing is that she's going to sue him. I mean, the cops arrested him, and she's going to sue him. I still think the whole blood thing is still there. I didn't get a sense that disappeared. No, I
Well,
think
what they
it's
say
literally
is
that those once she walks in the door of the retreat or whatever, I think then that's when things began to change. So Todd doesn't turn into a Hulk. Bruce does not appear. She does not fight anybody. Nobody. I don't think anybody fights anybody. Nobody fights the Abomination or anything like that at all. It's just literally the cops show up,
yeah.
and Todd gets arrested.
But when she's talking to Kevin, one of them says, we're just erase the whole bloodline plot.
Oh, do they?
Blood plot, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So again, that just kind of like I said, it just really throws things off, and we have to accept it as part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Because they introduced Scar at the end.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to deal with that character and his bad haircut. You have to mention the haircut. That was just
I'm sorry. He reminded me of somebody I know.
But you do have to remember that on Sakaar, the barber was an 80-year-old Stan Lee.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good. Another good point there. That's that's a whole nother thing that really made me curious is how the hell does what? Okay, I feel like they confirmed it's a movie that we're going to be getting. Maybe. I think Kevin calls it a movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he called. She says, "Save it for the movie."
Mm-hmm.
About the reveal with the Hulk. Yeah, and then he says, "See you on the big screen."
And then
says,
now
really, and he says, "No."
He's right. He's kidding about her. I love that too. Really? No, no. But okay. But I think her. I was thinking it was him. Her saying "save it for the movie" and him not disagreeing with that means it is a movie. It's not going to be a TV series. We're getting a Hulk movie, and it's.
I think we have to be careful not to read too much into the ending here.
But Dan, we're fans of Marvel Studios. That's what we do. Don't read too much into it. What are you talking about?
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is this ending was not the original ending. They wrote
it changed.
They wrote a bunch of endings.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant.
And they filmed a completely different one, and it just wasn't working for them. So one of the things I've seen complained about is, well, when they changed things, they didn't go back and kind of rewind through it and show the changes. But I think they didn't do that, not because they didn't want to, but I think it's because they had already filmed all that stuff. And if you're going to have an ending that rewinds and plays through, you have to film it at the time you're doing the original filming, or you have to redo all those sets and everything.
Yeah,
it's just not cost efficient. But Jessica Gao says that they had a different ending they filmed.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, where did that come from? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, just in an interview with Jessica Gao, and also Tatiana Maslany talked about how Jessica had written 20 different endings, but she'd only seen 2 of them, the one they filmed and then the one they used.
Okay, but so essentially they made the ending what really happened was they weren't happy with the ending and they changed it.
Well, they were trying to do a more Marvel type ending.
Right, but what I mean is they got the ending that we have now came out of that's what happened in real life is what I think what you're saying.
Yeah. Andrew says, I thought it was contractually not possible to do a Hulk movie unless it's Universal Films. And that is not quite true anymore. Basically, It's 15 years. So Universal would have to put out another Marvel movie since the last Hulk movie, which was 2008, within 15 years, or those rights revert back to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So the earliest that Marvel could do one is 2024.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's most likely what's going to happen is that we'll not get a Hulk movie till 2024, but it'll be a MCU Disney only because the rights will revert back by then.
I will bet you the Marvel Studios asked Universal, I mean asked, not told, because wouldn't have the right to do that, but asked them to not do anything and just wait and let it run out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what would they do? I mean, it would have to be a Hulk movie.
Mm-hmm. And you'd have to recast it, and because
Right.
Ruffalo's under Marvel's contract, so and they didn't do too well on their own with the Ang Lee one.
Right.
So yeah, it would just be a money grab, and I'm sure Universal's getting some kind of compensation of something. So,
so going back to that thing is Bruce appears at the the cookout, and he has his son with him, and we know he's been off planet. So does the movie happen between the last time we saw him? He's in the spaceship heading to Sakaar, and then between that and then he comes back to Earth. And you know what? If that's the case, it's kind of a letdown because I mean it's you know what I mean? It's like everything turns out all right, I guess. There's not really any tension there. I mean, they could. I don't see. They can kill Bruce Banner. They killed Tony Stark. They pretty much killed Steve Rogers. So you know what I mean. I wonder if that's the story that we're getting, or if it happens after he comes back to Earth with Scar.
I think it happens after. I think it has to do with not the World War Hulk story, but the more recent World War Hulks story that has the Red Hulk and Red She-Hulk and all these other characters in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's more likely what they're going to end up doing.
Yeah.
Because I think World War Hulk kind of got messed up by Ragnarok.
Yeah.
By using part of the Planet Hulk storyline and then having him come back the way he did, instead of leaving him there and making him leader of the planet type of thing.
Right.
And then the explosion just kind of takes all of that away.
Right. Yeah. Totally agree.
I think if we get a Hulk movie, it's going to be more likely involving a bunch of Hulks. So.
Right. And She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Even despite what Kevin said.
Well, I think Hulk collectively is She-Hulk, Red Hulk, Hulk, Abomination, A-Bomb if they introduce him.
Scar.
Yeah. Yeah. The Awesome Hulk, I think it is the Amadeus Cho character.
Yeah, the Awesome Hulk.
So
totally Awesome Hulk.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, but I think the ending fit the series, but it left me with a lot of questions.
Well, honestly, what Marvel Studio production doesn't do that though? Now, for the most part, right? I mean, that's pretty much par for the course.
But
with
I accept questions that evolve within the story.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question of what of that story are we supposed to keep and what is it we throw away?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're both at that point. You're maybe more unsettled by it than I am, because I said, okay, this ending totally fits what's going on. I mean, we should have seen it all along. It's so funny because when she goes into the room with the guys and things start happening, and then Hulk comes in and it's the most boring fight. It's almost like, okay, yeah, we have to fight, and he kind of punches the Abomination. And I even said, like, this is kind of lame. And then I love it because she starts saying and reflecting on exactly what we, the viewers, are saying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really good with this. This is just kind of like not stupid necessarily, but yeah, it's like, yeah, I kind of wish there was something different going on. And then that's exactly what it is. And I love it because you know what? I really love a person or a celebrity or an organization, some kind of entity that is big enough to poke fun at themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, in a Marvel Studios production, a character says Marvel Studios is known for having the same damn ending. You know, these things all go the same way. And I'm saying, like, wow. And also, this whole thing about the fans want something different. And so I'm laughing again because they keep now giving us different things, and the fans are still not happy. I mean,
Yeah.
She-Hulk couldn't be any more different, than anything before. And Moon Knight was so different. We're getting different stuff. They're trying to do different things. Werewolf by Night, for God's sake, and then they're still not happy. So I have no idea what the fans want. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy. It's a different kind of happiness than I was leading up to and including Endgame, because that was a little bit more conventional superhero stuff. And I realized that once they hit that point, they really couldn't keep doing that same thing. People say, "Oh, Phase 4 just doesn't have the teeth, that Phase 3 had, or 2 or whatever." And it's like, well, yeah, because they couldn't repeat that again. Well,
Yeah.
once you have something like Endgame, you just don't. I don't know. You don't do that over
Yeah.
again.
I think people are just mad they didn't kill Hawkeye.
Okay,
I
there's
think
still time. It can still be done.
I think the She-Hulk series ended exactly how the She-Hulk series should have.
Well,
It just becomes an issue when She-Hulk is part of the bigger MCU.
yep.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. One last comment on that. Andrew says, "Wonder if Scar, by the way, Andrew, Scar is SKAAR, should be substitute for Hulk, could be a substitute for Hulkling in Young Avengers." Yeah, I actually thought of that the other day too. It does seem like a possibility because how much they've changed the Kree and Skrull in the MCU. So
Mm-hmm.
having a character who's half and half
Mm-hmm.
could be very troublesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's still possible, but Scar could be an interesting choice to change. Swap out the character.
Yeah. Have
Again,
you seen anybody approach the actor who plays Scar? I'm just curious if he's spoken publicly or anything.
I haven't seen anything with him. I know his
Okay.
name is Will.
I looked it up and I can't remember what it is, but I looked it up at one
Yeah, I've
point.
got it here. It's Will Dousner,
Hmm.
and he hasn't done much. He was a regular on season 1 of Stargirl
Mm-hmm.
as a character named Will. That's he's done a couple little things, but that's about it. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they introduce him like that and just throw him out there. But we'll have to see how they do it. What
Yeah.
they do with it.
Yeah.
So, and that haircut, Jesus. Okay.
Maybe it'll change. They'll work on it. Maybe.
Yeah. Once he's on Earth, he'll probably start going, nobody has their hair like this. Yeah. And you see the stubble, so it's obvious he can grow.
Yeah. One last question. Will She-Hulk be mentioned in Daredevil Born Again?
Mentioned, I think so.
Hmm.
Will she show up?
I don't think she'll show up. I just I just be interesting if he mentions her. My guess is that if Tatiana as She-Hulk appears in other productions and it is not her show or her movie, we may get her turning to somebody that's not there and saying things, but I don't think we're not gonna get her looking at us necessarily, and we're certainly not going to get any reality breaks.
I
like we
would
got in
love
the
to
end
see
there.
her in someone else's show just turn away from the camera and say something and
Mhm.
have the star of the show go, "What the hell are you doing?"
Well, that's exactly right. And I think that would be kind of funny because we would see it from the other characters in the MCU's point of view. Like, who the hell is she talking to? You know? But
That's
of course, as the audience, we do know, but I think it'll be a really kind of a funny thing. You know, she shouldn't be doing any, we should not be seeing any reality breaks or her looking right at us again, unless she gets her own, unless there's season 2 of She-Hulk or whatever. So
yeah.
I think that'll be really interesting going forward, and especially if she meets Deadpool.
All right, let's jump to Rings of Power, being the season finale of that.
Okay.
And
Don't say you were unhappy with it. I'll be crushed.
I was a tad disappointed,
Ah!
only because
Boo.
I think the reveals were too obvious. And that's a critique on the show, not the finale. But Halbrand as Sauron was just way too obvious.
I think they kept me guessing for the most part. And there were often times where I said this is too obvious for it to be real. So
Yeah.
no, they did actually keep me a little off balance. But very soon into this finale, I said, "Oh God, yeah, this guy is totally Sauron."
Oh
But
yeah.
you
When
know what?
he,
I think it was I didn't care because when they really start ramping it up and his evil nuttiness starts coming out, you know, I really loved it. When he's doing that illusion crap with on Galadriel, and then you know, then he goes full blown nuts, and he's got the eyeball, he's got his like slitted eyes, and I'm like, this is great. Okay.
yeah. No. Overall, I liked it. I love the series. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to season 2 to see where they go. But it felt like it felt like they just gave it to us. I want to earn it a little more. You
Hmm.
know, the Halbrand thing, and then the more we go with the stranger, it's like it's going to be Gandalf, and I
Mm-hmm.
hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that it's going to be Gandalf because that doesn't make much sense book wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if it turns out he's a different one, or he's Sauron, or
Mm-hmm.
even one of the blue,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
But if it turns out it's Gandalf, and they're doing everything to make it seem like Gandalf,
Yeah,
well,
they really are. They're teasing quite a bit, so they're running the risk of pissing off the audience by. And I know my one of my biggest beefs with people who watch this stuff is the great leaps in assumption that they make and feel like, you know, we were promised this or that when the show never promised anything like that. And I get all that, but yeah, they're in a weird position because if it's not, we could rightfully say like, well, what about this, and this? Like, why did you do all of those things? Why didn't you just do a little bit of it, and the blow wouldn't have been as much? But I'm with you. I don't want it to be Gandalf, and I still don't want it to be Gandalf. I'm
yeah,
kind of starting to resign myself to that and just kind of getting to the point where I'm going to go, oh well, if it is. But yeah, in the end, I don't want it to be, and I don't want it to be any of the named ones that we already know. You know, have it be whatever, make up a name. And they seem to have done a good job with making up names for the characters that are the non-Tolkien characters. So I don't.
yeah. Mind you, Nori and the Stranger are one of the things I enjoy the most about the series,
Mm-hmm.
as I do Durin and Elrond.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
Mm-hmm.
get any of that in the finale, but hopefully we'll get more of that in season 2.
Right.
But you know, so yeah, I thought the Halbrand as Sauron reveal was just too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
and it disappointed me. And just like if it is Gandalf, I'll be disappointed. Not so much that I don't like the series, but I just think the writing should be a little better, you know?
They I think they have the opportunity to look at what they've done, look across season 1 and try to tighten things up going forward. From what I understand, season 2 just went into production
Yeah, I haven't heard
literally
either way of
this
it.
month. Yeah. I mean, but we're talking what the potential that it's going to be up to 2 years before we get it, which is a big ouchie as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. That whew, that's going to be, for me personally, that's going to be a long wait.
Yeah, they should have rolled right into the just
I don't
filming.
understand why they didn't, unless the outlying of money was so huge for season 1 that they really just couldn't, I don't know, come up with the funds
Yeah,
to
well, it was very expensive. They spent
yeah,
like 450 million
yeah,
on the series, but
mhm,
a big chunk of that was securing the rights.
yeah, yeah.
But
I'm
overall,
worried that the people who play the elves are going to grow older and older in real life and not look, they shouldn't be aging, look like they're aging, at least.
I wonder how much the fact that we knew that Sauron was going to appear at some point,
Yeah.
if that is part of what, if we would even thought that Halbrand was Sauron had we
Hmm.
not seen that.
Hmm.
If we didn't know he was going to appear, would it have been like, oh my God, he's Sauron? What? You know?
Well, we didn't know he was going. I almost thought he wouldn't. I thought they would really hold it off.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily in second season. I thought maybe it was going to be that it was the the feeling of Sauron. It was constantly going to be hanging over everything, and it was literally just going to be people talking about him, and therefore his presence is felt throughout. But here's an interesting thought, that actor may not come back. They may the next time we see Sauron, that he could look
Different.
different. There's still a whole thing in the lore where a form that he wears that is around this time, and now people who are really into the lore are starting to question whether they're going to even use that
Him
story.
appearing as an elf. Yeah.
Yeah, the beautiful form. um I in the Nerd of the Rings podcast thing that I watch on YouTube, and he's really steeped in the lore. He suggested that it's the character, the form is called Anatar, and he suggested that maybe Anatar has already been appearing to characters, and we just haven't seen it. That maybe he had already appeared to Elrond, and there's some little bits of dialogue that that he thinks that leads to that. I don't know, or I guess in the lore, the other rings have already been made, not the one, but I think it's that the dwarven rings and the rings of men have already been made, and then the elven rings are
I thought it was
made.
the other way around. I thought the Elven rings were first.
Yeah, yeah, I tend to trust this guy because he seems to know what he's talking about. I mean, I like it like that this way, that this is the first. Every season could follow the making of another set.
That would be
You know,
interesting.
like the next season 2 is the lead up to the dwarven rings being made, and then after that the rings for men, and then we get to the one ring, and then we kind of go from there.
Yeah.
I don't know, Sauron is heading for Mount Doom, but it's he can't start making the one ring until all the rings are made. I think it was very interesting that they pointed out in the video that I watched that he is not present when the three rings are made, and that's why the elves are able to resist the power of the One Ring when Sauron makes the ring and then tries to connect all the rings and overpower them, because as we see in Lord of the Rings that like Galadriel has hers on and she's not under Sauron's power, that because he had to hightail it and run, that his influence is not there when they're actually made.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Anatar, is that the name? Um, he could have come to Gilgalad earlier and be the one that explains what Mithril is and how it could help.
Yep.
Because Gilgalad already knew that the dwarves had found something.
Yep.
Where did he get that information from? So they could do it that way.
Yeah.
That's
and there's a whole storyline where they're supposed to fight or go up against Sauron in Middle Earth, and he gets captured and taken back to Numenor.
Yep.
And then he starts to corrupt El-Farazad because he becomes king, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what happens to Muriel. I don't know if she becomes full queen and not just queen regent, but it makes me wonder if they're going to do that storyline, because that, I guess, sort of directly leads to the fall of Numenor.
Yeah, and that might be a couple seasons down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a fascinating show. I keep trying to pull back and look at it as if I'm just coming in and not really knowing any of these things and trying to enjoy it for what it is. Because the more I start worrying about, does this fit in with the lore, then that lessens my enjoyment of it.
I could see that. I thought it was interesting that we lost Sonic Burrows.
Yeah, which that was sad.
Yeah.
The departure of Nori actually got to me a little bit. I will admit it. A little bit of a surprise that Poppy did not
go
along at being sort of the Sam Gamgee analog there, but I guess there's still time that could happen.
It could be, or it could be he's going to gain other companions along the way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I half expected the last scene that we see of that segment, Harfoot's and the stranger, is Nori and the stranger starting to walk off, and she turns to him and says, "What should I call you?" And then that's when he says his name, whatever that name, Stormcrow or whatever, one of the other names for Gandalf.
Call me Larry. Just, I don't know why, but that would be funny. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we got some time. Going to be a while before we get any more of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah. But all right, let's go ahead and
they're going to film in England more, I guess, in the UK more, than in New Zealand. So that's going to help their budget, I think, a little bit.
I thought New Zealand was actually pretty cheap to film in. That's why they did all the movies down there and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw something about that. They said they're pulling back and pretty much just going to be in the UK. And they said that was felt appropriate since Tolkien basically was like that Middle Earth was England, or whatever. The Shire was especially that, but
yeah. I want to jump back to one thing from She-Hulk real quick. I thought it was awesome that they that Kevin told her to change back to Jen, but do it off camera because the special effects have already moved on, and then they play the theme from Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
like, nice. Nice little in joke there, but I like it.
Very, very nice.
Yep. All right, let's talk Andor. It does seem like they're doing these seasons in 3 episode arcs.
Yeah. Yes.
They dropped the first three all together, and it was all about Andor getting off the planet, getting
Mhm.
off of Ferrix, and becoming part of the rebellion and all of that.
Right.
And then the second arc, of course, is the heist, is that first job.
Yeah.
So I hope they keep that because I kind of like that 3 arc format. That way, instead of there being little mini or just like stretching everything out, it
Mhm.
feels like we're getting chapters, and
Yeah.
I'm really liking that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it reflects the films, right? Trilogies,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. So we're going to get 4 trilogies and then 4 trilogies.
Yeah.
Since it'll be 2 seasons.
Yeah.
What was your overall thought on the sixth episode and then that trilogy, basically?
I'm still liking it altogether. I'm sorry, I was thinking specifically of the finale, but I'm enjoying it very, very much. I like the pace very much. I'm not thrilled with every single uh set of characters that we follow. Um, I did not miss the kid from the corporate sector and his mother. In fact, really, I didn't really miss that at all.
Yeah.
I did actually miss that we only checked in with Mon Mothma there at the very end. I'm really glad in the finale that they really focused on Andor and the heist, and that we only saw Luthen very just a little bit, and Mon Mothma just a little bit. We didn't see the kid and his mother at all. What we've gotten so far could have been just the season itself. I mean, what especially I said the finale, the wrap up of the heist could have been a season finale.
Yeah.
Absolutely. um I really like that they are retaining Cassian's edge. It surprised me when he shot the guy at the
Skiing.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it makes me think of unfortunately of George Lucas's attempts to water down Han Solo by having Greedo fire first. This is almost a reaction to that, in a way that you can have an engaging character who is essentially a good person, and who can be, kind of kill people in cold blood in a
Mhm.
way. I don't know if that guy he sort of deserved it. I have expected him to go back into what's the female character's name?
Vel.
Yeah, I have expected him to go in there and say, "I shot him. He tried to betray us and everything," and her go, "No, no, no! Wait, wait, wait! I told him to do that to test you." Oh, 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 oh! I'm so sorry. Oh,
That would have been bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, overall feeling of the show. I watch them usually early in the morning, and it's like, God, I don't know if I need this much tension so early in the morning before I start my day, especially that heist one, because honestly, one character is has to get out of that, and that's Cassian. We know what happens to Cassian. Everybody else, I suppose. God, I'm losing these characters' names. The guy that wrote the manifesto,
Nemec.
Nemec. You pretty much figure he's gonna get it. I think
Sure.
everybody kind of figured he would. And the line "You'll sleep when it's over," was kind of leading to that. But I was really kind of gutted by Gorn getting
Yeah.
it, and then the ex stormtrooper.
Cameron.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what? Both of them? You know?
Oh yeah. Only the girls got out. Andor
Yeah,
and the 2 girls.
Okay, Dan, what the heck is the deal with Cinta? I didn't totally get that.
Mhm.
She walked away in an Imperial officer outfit. Is it right? She walked away?
Yep.
What? I didn't I wasn't getting the deal with there. Were we supposed to wonder about that or not wonder about that or
I have a guess
okay.
that Cinta is Andor's missing sister.
Oh. Wow, I don't even think I haven't heard that theory yet. Wow. And you're saying she would not know?
They
Like
were
they
both
both
very
don't
young.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because he comes in as Clem. They were children at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we don't know if they were real sisters and brother or not. And they're probably not using their same names.
Yeah. Very interesting. You know what it reminded me of in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the woman that is posing as an Imperial officer, that character. It reminded me a lot of that, and it made me think. Here's where I went with that. I said, is this the beginning of a thing that the rebellion does, which is basically plant people as imperial officers? That maybe we're seeing kind of like the beginning of that gambit or whatever, and that this will keep going. And obviously, it's still going in Obi-Wan's time at that point, because it was very similar feeling to
Obi-Wan
me.
took place before this.
Oh, wait.
Where
No, it didn't. Obi-Wan is.
Obi-Wan was 9 BBY. This is 1 BBY.
Oh,
No, no, they're parallel.
no, wait, this is 5 BBY.
Yes, and Obi-Wan was 9 or 10 BBY.
Oh, okay. Is that wow? All right. Yes, you're right. 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 There's
Yeah,
no rebellion, formal rebellion at the time
yeah.
of Obi-Wan. Right. Right. Right.
Which brings me up to one of my thoughts. Luthen's reaction at the
Uh-huh.
end
Mm-hmm.
when he hears about the rebels made a big hit.
Yeah.
I don't think that his excitement was because of the money. I think his excitement is because they made a big enough noise
Mm-hmm.
that the empire is acknowledging that there's a rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't think of the money thing either. I thought it was just total relief that it worked. And he's assuming that at least some of his crew made it out alive. Uh, I don't think at that moment he knows who made it out, but he knows that it was a success. I don't know how much of that money do you assume they got? Did they get half? Did they get?
Well,
They don't get it all.
they said that they got 80 million credits,
Yeah, yeah,
and Cassian was to take 200,000 of it.
yeah, yeah,
So and it was supposed to be for the rebellion. So
yeah, yeah,
she just flies it back to meet with Luthen and gives them the money. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
don't know
what
who
you know
else.
what I mean is that, well, how much did we ever hear how much altogether was in that vault?
Don't know about what was in the vault.
That's what I mean. It's like they didn't get all of it.
No.
They got a good chunk, I assume, and it's still worthwhile what they got, and also that they gave the Empire a bloody nose.
Yeah.
For
See,
that matter.
I think that's what Luthen's part of the plan was, is that he needed them to do something on a large enough scale that a rebellion is announced, because
Yes.
then he can start connecting the dots or the
Yeah.
factions
Yeah.
under a rebellion as
Yeah.
an actual organized rebellion. instead of just these different factions.
So that's where you see it going from this point. What's the next, Cassian starts reading that manifesto, I assume. I assume that's going to start to reshape his thoughts about things.
Yeah.
And we assume that he runs into his his maybe sister again.
Yeah, I mean, her character, the way they connected, if there wasn't Bix, then I would have thought, because there's got to be a love interest for him at some point in this, right?
And if they're following tradition, the tradition of fiction, yes, I suppose that's correct.
So I kind of thought maybe Bix would be that. I don't see Cinta being that.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea was. Well, we still got that sister mentioned in the first episode that then gets dropped, and that can't be Bix because that just wouldn't make any sense. But her showing up on another planet altogether, that could make sense.
Yeah. You think he goes back to that first planet?
I could see him going back to check on his mother.
Yeah.
Or Mavra and Bix. But they're still looking for him. And we did see how the Empire is taking over that town.
Yeah.
So normally when we leave a town, we're never going back. We don't go back and look at it.
Right.
So the fact that I think he will end up back there at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that character will show up again. And I have a feeling the fact that they didn't kill Cinta or get her arrested or anything. She just walked away. It kind of made me feel like she'll be back.
Yeah. And do you think that was the plan with her? Or is that something that she did sort of at the spur of the moment?
I think she was always going to find her own way out.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that was always part of the plan, was for her to keep the hostages and then make her escape.
Okay.
It just makes the most sense because at no point did anybody turn and go, "Where's Cinta?"
Yeah, that's true.
So it definitely seems like it was part of the plan.
I like the feeling that I'm not really sure what we're going to see from this point on. We're only halfway through. That's a cool feeling right there. The heck with this 6 and 8 episode stuff. This is really great. My God, we got 6 more episodes of this thing.
Yep, and a guaranteed second season.
Yeah.
So, and then he's dying
in 3 more years.
Yeah, they got to hurry up though because he's supposed to be 26 and Diego Luna's like 40.
Yeah. Well, are they filming it now? Did they start?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
What are these people waiting for? Come on, film. How hard could it be?
They only have so many of the. Well, they filmed that one in live. They didn't film it in the volume, so don't know. But they're all produced and directed by the same people, so I guess they kind of need to finish one.
I know. Oh, can we go back to She-Hulk for just one moment? Okay. Were any of the people in the writer's room and anybody else that she met at Marvel Studios, were those real people or all actors?
The receptionist was the real Marvel receptionist.
I figured that was okay.
Who I believe has left the company since then.
Okay.
But at the time, he was the real receptionist.
Yeah. Jessica
Gao, Zeb Wells, and one other writer were all in the room.
I figured that was Jessica Gao, but I didn't realize that was Zeb Wells.
But the two that were talking were playing Jessica Gao and Zeb Wells. But Zeb was the guy standing against the back wall.
Oh.
And Jessica was actually the Asian girl at the back left corner of the table. So they had actors come in to play them, but they were still in the scene. So there was
because they couldn't trust the real people to be good actors. Is that,
I guess,
or at least passable?
Yeah. And the heavy-set African American guy with the he's one of the real writers.
Okay, because I was going to say, just put the real writers in there.
So yeah, the real writers were in there, but they did put in 2 ringers.
And I know that is the actual real Kevin Feige too. So wait, do we know? Did
The
he
ball
do?
cap,
Yeah, because the ball cap. Did he do the voice?
No.
Oh, the
It
heck
would have
with
been
those
hilarious.
people. I hate that. That was a horrible show.
Would have been awesome to have. I would love to have the real Kevin Feige there, and then have him like plug himself in afterwards to show he's an android.
Yeah, I honestly thought there for a little bit that it was really going to be him, and I thought this should be fun, and I didn't care if he was like awkward in his acting or whatever. It's like, no, that would be really, really great. But I suppose he probably just doesn't have the time to do stuff like that.
I would love to have had him sitting in like a recliner, rolling like the Matrix, the end of the Matrix with the architect.
Yeah.
Just have him sitting there in a chair like that.
Well, or it would be like wait, it would be like just like a figurehead, like or in the original Star Trek episode, the Corbomite maneuver with Balak, and it's a figure of him, but it's really Ron Howard's little brother. It was like, yeah, she could have walked into the room and there's the real Kevin Feige sitting there, but he's not moving, at all. And she's like, pushes him and he falls over, and then the AI comes out and it says,
or Clint Howard.
Or Clint Howard, yeah. We need more stuff with Clint Howard.
We do.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to wrap it up there, guys.
Oh my God, where did this hour go?
I know. It'll be a lot easier next week when we don't have.
Yeah, I plan to talk a lot about Andor.
Yeah. We're gonna have
unless that Harrison Ford news becomes true in the meantime.
Yep.
We can always hope.
So I'm gonna try to watch Pennyworth this week. Get caught up on that. Be worth talking about. Did you ever watch Pennyworth?
I did not. No.
They're all on HBO Max now.
Okay.
So if you have that, the first 2 seasons are crazy and fun, and it's a lot like watching Michael Caine in his youth.
Okay.
The actor they have playing Alfred is so much like Michael Caine, it's scary.
Okay.
But you should give it a shot.
Okay. Maybe I'll rewatch The Incredible Hulk before next Sunday.
Yeah, we could do a deep dive into that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. So thank you all for for coming along with the fun and joining your questions. Andrew, Amy, everybody else, thank you. We will see